I've caught flights as early as 9 a.m. I'm not recommending you do this, but if it's a direct flight, it's a cheap flight, and you just don't want to be at the airport all day, these are the 9 things that you need to do to catch your early flight. But if you're traveling with kids, don't make this one simple mistake that I made. Otherwise, you won't catch your early flight. The first tip is to be traveling with a passport and self-disembark. Now, if you're self-disembark, that means you'll be carrying your own luggage off and you won't be putting it out the night before. Around 7 a.m., the ship typically gets cleared. However, I'm down in the Royal Promenade in line to get off the ship an hour or a little bit more before that. You're going to be the first ones off the ship after the ship is cleared. Now, with the passport, you get to go through the passport line instead of the birth certificate line. Many of the ports by Royal Caribbean have facial recognition, including Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Port Canaveral, and Galveston, Texas. So, have a passport and self-disembark. After that, the next thing you want to make sure you're doing is getting an Uber or a taxi. Getting an Uber or taxi much quicker than prearranged transportation 9 out of 10 times, especially for ports that are really close to the airport. Like Fort Lauderdale, it's only like a 5-minute drive. Now, if you're going from Miami to Fort Lauderdale, on the weekend that typically takes about 30 minutes, but on a different day that could take much longer. And if you're coming back to Texas and flying out of Houston Hobby, the close airport, is an hour away. If you're going to the other airport, it's going to be even longer, an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours with traffic, depending on the day. And also, there's not a whole lot of Ubers and Lyfts in Galveston, Texas. The third tip is to have TSA Pre-check. TSA Pre-check is $85 for 5 years. It is really easy to get, and if you fly even one time a year, it is worth it in my opinion. My dad has it now. We signed him up for it, and he had his little interview at a Staples. After you have TSA Pre-check, if you're cutting it really close, you can even have Clear. Now, if you don't know what Clear is, don't worry about it too much. It's like $189 for a year, and it's an annual fee. So unless you fly often, Clear is not worth it. But Clear is very good and very nice if your home airport has it, and you fly a number of times every year. The best way to get that, honestly, is when you're flying to the port. Take a couple extra minutes, literally about 10 minutes, to sign up for Clear and then catch your Uber or taxi to your hotel because you're flying in the night before. And the fifth tip is to not have any checked baggage. You don't want to be waiting in line to just check your bag. If you do, you'd have to do curbside checking, which is usually pretty quick, but I'd much rather just use my phone here and use my mobile boarding pass and get through security quickly. Now, the sixth tip is you must have a backup plan. So that might be another flight that's available later in the day. That might be booking another flight on another airline using points that you can easily cancel. I do this routinely with Southwest. My family flies for nearly free, $45 for the 4 of us to fly round trip. If you want to learn how to fly for free, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you get notified for all the tips. Now, you also don't want to be flying a budget airline like a Spirit, Frontier, Avelo, Breeze Airlines. If there's a mechanical issue, the flight gets delayed, you're pretty much trapped there. Most of these airlines only have one flight, maybe 3 times a week, going to the destination that you're going to. So don't fly these budget airlines. Not only that, but they nickel and dime you for everything. If you want to choose a seat, you're paying extra. If you want to bring on a carry-on luggage, you're paying extra. And the 9th tip, if you don't want to miss your flight, don't do something silly like I did. Bring in fruit off the ship on disembarkation day. I brought fruit off the ship. I've got kids. I was thinking, oh, this will be a great snack. I won't have to buy anything at the airport. Well, guess what? You get put in a special room and you're there for a good hour. So don't make that mistake. Plus, I swear, I'm randomly checked all the time going through TSA Pre-check now. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and maybe even share it with a friend that might need some helpful hints. This is Brian, Tips with Cruisers.